and this is, I think, number 5 in a series of, sorry, this is 4 in the series of our lunch and learns around the whole risk management process. And today we're going to deal with incidents. So I hope you like our new slide decks. We've recently modernized it. But the usual information, I think most of you know who we are anyway already. So I just go into it today. We're going to look at how to learn from incidents, and basically we're going to talk a little bit about incident logging, something about the root cause, and at the end of it, associated with the root cause process, you look at it, lessons learned, and in part what to do next. So the essentials of an incident, and this is a strange one. There are a number of definitions of what an incident is, but in general terms, in the terms of governance, risk and compliance, this is where we're starting from here. There's incidents are undesirable, unexpected, and unpleasant. And in that sense, it implies that some person, process, or technology has failed to do that what was desired, expected, or predicted, and it failed to achieve the outcome of whatever the action was, or wasn't. If you like, it might have achieved an outcome that was undesirable, unexpected. And to know the incident has occurred is key here, because you've got to get a report. You got to know what's happened. Somebody has to say, or a system has to give you an indication that there is something unpredictable or undesirable has occurred. And key is a detailed collection system. And in any organization that is serious about effectively managing out the minor, major, and critical failings of processes, people, or technology, a no-blame culture is almost essential, because what you're looking to ensure is that people in the organization or outside the organization, suppliers, providers, consultants, dependents, people you depend on, feel that they are culturally expected and will not be blamed for raising an issue of concern or reporting an incident. And ideally, what that results in is that generally an incident won't be suppressed. Sometimes when you go through lines of management, you might find somebody's afraid to report upwards. And that is way worse than a scenario where a thing is reported and an investigation is done. And if it's done in a sense, an open sense, the organization is far better for it. I'll move on quickly through these. So how do you classify incidents? There's many ways to classify incidents. I put up 3 here. The minor one, which is generally indicated by frequency, it happens regularly. It's maybe a balance not connecting. It might be a system that's slow. It mightn't finish a process transaction. Whatever it is, it might happen. It happens with some frequency, and it won't stop the ship. It's not mission critical, and generally the systems might pick up on the report, or the individuals might report them. The serious ones do these are the issues or incidents that can have an impact on a business objective. So this is sort of beginning to get the point where it's a fix immediately. It's certainly investigate. And then you get to the ones that are critical. And the ones that are critical are the kind of things that are associated with risks that have been identified that are mission critical for the business, and that have the potential to completely and seriously damage the business. And around those, you probably already have a test and response. So there's a business continuity plan, there's a disaster recovery plan around those critical things. They're the ones that, the big incidents that will be identified. One of the notes I put here was to make sure that some of the incidents that you're going to look at, these could be incidents or near misses, and sometimes good catches. If you're really into this big time, you might be picking up the good catches as well, where you've avoided something. Some of them are controllable and internal. So generally, they're issues that are processes, that are people, that are technology that is controllable internal, but you also may get incidents from external sources such as suppliers. They could be weather events. So bear in mind that in your gathering of incidents and things that can damage the business from a risk perspective, incidents can come from outside as well, in which case you have very little control over the root cause or the source. Reporting ideally, if you have a system that reports when you're gathering incident reports, there'll be some that of their nature are confidential, and that's also true of complaints. They may trigger internal or even external investigation and reporting requirements. Sometimes the incident is the exposure. Sometimes it's an act. It's a failure to act. So the identification of something and that it was ignored. But in any event, having a good reporting and recording system is important to manage the incident, to classify it, and to manage and subsequently to report it. And also use a system to manage tasks associated with the corrective and preventive actions that are taken. The actions can be set as tasks and recorded in the logging system. So you look to gather where possible, and again, it depends on the nature of the incident. So some incidents will be the critical ones or the serious ones may have a long life cycle. So, for example, if you've had a hack and your systems are compromised with a ransomware attack, something like that, then your incident is a progressive incident and your incident response is progressive as well. The incident stays open and you can gather or should gather as much information as you can as the thing is unfolding. And incident logging creates a record, so you can analyze it afterwards. You can have a look and see, did what you expected to happen in your business recovery plan, and also how did your organization respond? The other thing it allows you to do is let your stakeholders know that you were taking it seriously. And if you've got notes as it occurs, particularly for the significant incidents, if you have notes as it occurs, you better inform the conversation around preventive action at the end of it, and also the recovery process. And there may be, when I say stakeholders here, there may be other people involved, depending on the nature of the incident. You may have an insurance company involved if it's a building disaster, if it's a fire, or if it's a cybersecurity. If your cybersecurity insurance is in place, it may well be a cyber insurance company that would be an interested stakeholder in your management of the incident. Thinking through this whole process, and bear in mind, if some of you will know that I'm Six Sigma background and I'm the process guy around here. So I have to figure out what do effective organizations do when they've had an incident. First thing is they recognize it's happened. And the life cycle is kind of from, oh my God, to business as usual. But things like data breaches, things like any risk event or near miss, understanding why it happened is very important. Culturally, I said earlier on, the no blame culture is important. Important also to classify it. So just understand the extent of it. And if you've got a classification code or a reporting system, you can classify these things into many categories, and that gives you the opportunity to report. Quickly establish what the corrective action is. So what do I need to do to stop this right now? What do I need to stop it? Contaminating other things. How do I get control of it? How do I get it inside, keep it inside the walls, that kind of thing. So your corrective action is very important. That fixes it helps to fix the immediate consequence, limit the consequence in risk terms. Quickly assess the impact, and basically here, this sort of process step is to confirm that thing is contained. Okay, that's it. We have it inside our wall or inside our control. Collect the immediate reports, because when it's fresh in the mind and the people who are involved in the incident, again, it depends on the nature of it. People who are involved in the incident, as time goes by, memory changes because you're getting more information about the thing, and the witness, if you like, of the beginning of the process begins to dissipate, the accuracy of the witness. So get immediate reports in as much as you can, as fast as you can. And one of the things that your systems should be able to tell you is, has this happened before? So you may have some corporate memory, some experience there that says, yeah, okay, remember this happened before, this happened then, this is what we did, or we found, or we thought that this was the root cause. So if you've got a repeat one and you believe that you've already got to the root cause and source, the repeat is an indication that maybe you didn't get it all the first time, and that happens. Nothing is perfect in any of these processes. So when you're looking and talking about root cause, one of the places you're going is, do the people have the right skills? Sometimes it might be a training issue. It might be that simple. With a lot of, if you've got a turnover in people, if you've got cross training that's going on, the level of skill mightn't be high enough for the process. The technology nowadays, so much of what we do is dependent on technology, and a question about whether it's robust enough. And that can be in a manufacturing environment. It's also in an IT environment. It's in the systems environment. And there's an awful lot of connectivity now and interconnection between processes. And an awful lot of organizations are under pressure to do things faster. And effectively, an awful lot of it now, the capability of instant is there when you're dealing with, say, financial transactions, for example, and that becomes pressured, and the technology needs to be fit for purpose. And you may, in an incident, be getting an indication that perhaps your technology isn't. And the other thing you'll be looking at are the processes reliable? So key processes will have key controls in them. So you need to look at the controls, you be monitoring those and understand if the incident is an indication that one of your controls in the process has a weakness, or you've identified a new potential flaw in it, or something has happened that maybe a change that has either become a habit, where the process isn't being followed, or there's something in the process that's fundamentally flawed or has changed. And then the end of the process is to determine the preventive action. What am I going to do on a permanent basis to make sure that this does not happen again? And that's a process that we talked about a little bit earlier on. So the essence of root cause analysis is to prevent a repeat occurrence. That's why you do it. The benefits include the reduced cost, increased efficiencies, and you're also looking at the continuous improvement. And some of these are listed continuous improvement processes here. A couple of things that you'll be looking to do is to understand if you're inside the tolerances. And again, referring back to some of the things I talked about early on, are the decisions appropriate? Did the recovery process work as we expected? That would be for the bigger incidents where you've got a predetermined recovery process. And all things, how was the process, the incident handling process and procedures, how did that work? And you're looking then at some lessons learned. So, for example, will you upgrade your response plan? How did your communications work? Update the training of individuals. Talked about it earlier on. You can get an idea here. Implement the recommendations I've highlighted. And another thing, the recommendations, there's two things about the recommendations. One, if you implement the recommendations, people who were involved in the incident understand it and were perhaps frustrated by it, you can tell them that it's fixed and this is what we did. And particularly the people who are close to the process or close to the incident, they get assurance from that. They say, okay, we reported it, we talked about it, went through a process, and now it's fixed. and you can share that with others, and that includes stakeholders when the thing is done. But if you identify it, you go through the process of developing a preventive action, implement the action. Some takeaways: record the events and as close to the incident as possible. Do the root cause exercise. That'll tell you why it happened, or it should do. Talk about prevention, and do a review of your response, down to and including the response, the implementation of preventive actions. Mentioned earlier on, share the learning with peers so everybody knows if they come across the same thing again, and improve your actions. Put in the improvement actions that you identified. One of the things that I should talk about here just briefly is when you've got a recording system and you've put the thing in place, what you've also got is a corporate memory. So you remember the incident, and the organization can go back to that incident if it ever occurs again, and you have a look at the lessons learned, and it continues to inform the process. Okay, Fiona, have we any questions? And I hope I did that inside the time.
Yeah, you're just a little couple of minutes over, but there aren't any questions there at the moment.
Okay. Does that mean everybody's happy or everybody's gone to lunch?
No, everybody's still here.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing, if there's no questions, I just remind you that the slide deck is available. Mairead will send out the slide deck later, and the recording is available if you want to either access it or share it. And if there's anything you want to know about, we have in the system, many of you will know that there's an incident module in the system which manages that. And if you've got a recurring or frequency around incidents, more than happy to show it to you anytime. Okay. And if there's there is a question, is there?
Just people coming in with thanks there, Paul.
Oh, we could wait for that. But no, I suppose. Thank you for your interest, and thank you for joining.